I'm going to go to robot periodic. What is robot periodic an example of? It does act like a loop because it's periodic, but more generally, what did we say about things that look like this? It's a function or it's a method, right? It is a function. In Java, we tend to call them methods because of history. But yeah, so this part tells me what the name of the method is. What are the parentheses for?
Where it's going to go.
That's input.
We, that's where the input would go. So if you don't have any input, you still have to have the parentheses, but there's nothing there if there's no input. Now, if I have the word void over here, what is this representing?
There's no output.
There's no output. Now, void has to be there because void is the output, but there's no output. It's the output to say there's no output. Then there's this section right here. Everything lives between the curly braces. This is what's called the body of the function. You can think about this section over here as being the declaration, where you're saying, hey, I'm going to have a function with this name. It's going to take these inputs. It's going to give me this output. But the body is where, for lack of the magic happens, right? It's where the function actually does stuff. So if I go back to this example, robot periodic is the name of my function. What does it take for input? No input. What does it give me as output? Void, nothing. Which means it's not going to give me data back, but it can do work. Now, where do I need to be if I want to do something inside the function?
The body.
The body. And where is the body? In the curly braces. So I'm going to put my cursor between the curly braces and go to a new line. And so because I am between those curly braces, I know I am in the function. And so we're going to do something relatively simple. We're going to type the line. What are we going to type? What are we going to type? The easiest way to see this will be, we'll do system with a capital S dot out dot println, and I'll get rid of that. And I'll save that. So this is the line in Java if you're working on like a computer program, and if you're doing the code HS stuff, you've probably encountered println by now. It's a way to just print text. And now I'm going to actually put something inside these parentheses. I'm going to say my joystick dot, and I'll just say get X. That'll be the easy way to do it. It's okay if you don't know what all this is doing yet. It doesn't really matter what it's doing yet. This is just to demonstrate a purpose. What is happening here, though? And actually, I do want to touch on this. And this is a concept from object-oriented programming, right? So my joystick is a joystick, right? It's a variable. It's got the shape of a joystick. It can do all the things a joystick can do. And it is an object. Whenever you want an object to do something or tell you something, you can use that object's methods. So a method on the joystick object is this thing called getX. And in order to use, and so I'll label that, getX is a method. In order to use an object's method, you have to use a dot. So whenever you see thing dot other thing, in Java that means object, perform this action, or object, tell me this thing. How can you tell this is a method? What's a dead giveaway? There's parentheses, right? Now, is every set of parentheses a function? No, but it's a good clue that there might be a function. So if I switch back, in here, my joystick is the object. I want it to do something or tell me something, so dot, and then get X. What is X? Who knows right now? It doesn't matter. Just know it's a thing that the joystick can do. And by convention, so by people's habits, there should be a dead giveaway here if this is going to do something or tell me something. Is it going to do something or tell me something? What do you think?
Tell you something.
Why do you think that?
Because it says it's get X, it's getting the X position.
Yep, so there's no reason that get has to mean tell me something, but the convention is that get is used for giving you information. And so I'm going to run this code right now. So if I go here, I'm going to go to the WPI lib. I'm going to simulate the robot code. Okay, so I'm going to sim GUI, resolving. It's going to do all the things. Your build failed. Okay, let's check on that in a minute. Did it fail kind of like mine failed? Okay, so if I look through here, there's a lot of good information in here. But here is what's the big one. If you ever see this phrase, what does that say? Java.lang.null pointer exception. So in programming, there's two kinds of errors. There's really a lot of errors, but there's two big kinds of errors. One type are called build time errors or compile errors, and another are your runtime errors or your, runtime errors. Runtime errors happen when you try to run the program. The runtime errors are a little bit harder to talk about, so we'll talk about these first. If I were to delete a letter here, I get this red squiggle, right? That's an example of what would be a build error or compile error. Most programming languages and build tools today are pretty good about finding these before you run the program. And so this is saying, oh, hey, I don't know what my joystick is, but I do know what my joystick is. So it gets rid of that, it's fine. A null pointer exception is what's called a runtime error. And the problem is that there is nothing wrong to Java with the program we've written. Right? We made a variable and we're using the variable. Java's like, hey, cool, great, do it, fine, whatever. The problem is going back to what it means to create a variable. What does it mean to create a variable?
To store a place in the memory that's a certain shape and give it a name so it can easily access.
Yep. Go into memory, create a box, and give it a name. But what did we say was true about this box? It has the shape of a joystick, but does not have a joystick. This box is empty. And when the box is empty, we can't do anything with it. And we say, actually, we don't say that it's empty. We actually say that it has a special name. And that special name is null, right? So when you think about it, the good example I see is toilet paper, right? If you have a roll of toilet paper with no toilet paper on it, you have 0 toilet paper. But if you don't even have the roll, you have null toilet paper. That's the idea here, is that there is nothing in this box. It is a null value. And so when the program tries to run, it's going to tell you, hey, there's a null pointer exception. That means, hey, there's a box of memory that you asked for, and you're trying to do something with it, but guess what? There's nothing in it. And it even says here, cannot invoke edu.wpi.first.wpilibj.joystick.getx because this.myjoystick is null. And it also tells you at frc.robot.robot robot java :29. Guess what this says? This is the file and the line number. So if I go look here at robot.java and I look on line 29, hey, there's my error. So I haven't done anything wrong. I made the box. I tried to do something with it, but there's nothing in the box. So the next step is to figure out how do we solve that problem.